So one of the taglines that Oklahoma softball uses a lot on social media, and I hear it talked about a lot, is championship mindset. What can you explain that to me? What that means?
Yeah, we to be honest, we kind of stole it from Russell Wilson when he was with the Seahawks. He was a young guy, quarterback, youngest guy on the team that was being such an outstanding leader. And he kept using the phrase championship mindset. We're behind, we're ahead. It was just this fearless, no quit, team first, all the things just by in his little sound bites made me feel like this is what we want to be. This is how we want to live. And that's really where we established it. And then we just added things to it along the way. Just our non-negotiables, just having a very inclusive environment where everyone feels comfortable, that there's no negative, there's no boo-hooing. It's just always team first, putting teammates in front of you. It's coming to practice prepared. It's coming to practice with confidence. It's understanding that mistakes are necessary in order to get better, that softball doesn't define who you are, that you can play with passion and play free, and just know that this program is not made for everyone, and it takes a special athlete to I don't know, we look for athletes that are built for us. And it all comes from me sitting in the stands and watching you play. But then I'm watching how you're interacting with your parents. I'm watching how you interact with your coach, with your teammates. I watch you as much off the field as I do on the field. Not like I'm a creepy stalker, but more of knowing that I am about to offer you $250,000 scholarship over 5 years. So that's a big investment. And as any good businesswoman would do, I want to make sure that this investment is right for our team.
Talk to me a little bit about those qualities that you have seen that maybe specifically stand out to you, of what makes the elite athletes just a step above the rest.
Yeah, I guess I could talk a little bit about Jocelyn Allo, who, in my mind, although she didn't play a lot of defense, she is an elite athlete, and so are those under her. What elite athletes do is they study. They besides schoolwork, they study the game. They do a lot of things on their own. And they do it without being told. They do it when no one's looking. They do it because they want to be great. And they know that's part of it. Jocelyn Allo used to watch a lot of video, and she became a student of hitting, and a very good student of hitting. Elite athletes share their knowledge. So Jocelyn Allo was like having another coach in the dugout. She could go up to the plate and then come back in the dugout and share valuable knowledge. I see when players, maybe they ground out and they're going back to the dugout and they whisper something to the next hitter. And I'm thinking, what are you really saying? Are you saying the truth? Or you know what you're saying? Are you educated enough to know that your information is going to help your next hitter? Jocelyn Allo shares her knowledge, works hard on her own. She will go hit a lot. Stay in shape is important. Sleep is important. Hydration and sleep habits. And that is where this phone comes into play, and how it just takes over a lot of our time. And it becomes an addiction that you have to see who's saying what are they saying, so forth. So all of those things take away from what is most important for an athlete in this day and age. We have not really talked about in the past is sleep, and they just don't sleep. And so it's just keeping elite athletes keep their their engine full of oil, and they just keep their tank full. They know what you need to be a fine running machine, so to speak. So that is the hydration, and that is the sleep, and that is mental clarity, and taking time for yourself away from the game, and having a good schedule, and being organized, and staying so far above water that you are able to breathe freely and not feel like you're suffocating. A lot of young players go into college and they get overwhelmed and they don't have a plan, and they feel like they're drowning. And when you're doing that, you're just begging for help. You're reaching, like, save me. I don't know how to get out of this. So it's learning the system and getting ahead of it and knowing how to manage it. And that really too becomes the difference between a girl and a woman. And those are the words we use when young people come into the program. Is it's going to take you time to get to womanhood, but we're going to show you how to do it.
Talk to me a little bit about the faith. Oklahoma softball has kind of been known for that. You guys have a theme every year, and the athletes kind of take that on themselves. Talk to me just a little bit maybe about the theme this year and how that kind of inspires your teams.
Yeah, it's been amazing, as you and I have talked about on our own, just how the Lord has made his presence felt at the College World Series without us holding up Bibles and preaching. It's more of whether it comes from our team, whether it comes from someone who is leading a chapel for us or what have you. This last year, well, we had a couple themes. And what's interesting too is I in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I got to come up with something, a really good something that they can buy into, that's biblical if they want to take that route. And every time I try, I just feel God saying, will you stop? This is my lane, not your lane. It's coming. Just stop. And I'm I get humbled quickly. And this year it was kind of like for him. We're playing for him. And so they have this battle. It's spelled BATL, which is boast about the Lord. This is coming from Grace Lyons, who kind of preaches into our locker room for those who want to join in. But then the A turned into the number 4. So if you think of a 4, it's very much like an A. So then it was battle for the Lord. They're turning this into all kinds of different cheers and everything. But then we had talked in one of the books that I read a while ago, and Sarah Roberts with the FCA reminded me about it. The title is, if you want to walk on water, you got to get out of the boat. And so the message was, stop being afraid or fearful of losing or fearful of getting out of the boat and drowning. Get out of the boat, walk on the water, believe, trust in you, your teammates, trust that the Lord's going to lead us through this, whether we win or whether we don't. Just have no fear. Just trust where he's going to lead us. Wherever he leads us is for that reason. It's his will. So the next thing you know, the team bought into that, and they are getting into that like rowing motion when they get on base, like they're rowing the boat. And people in the stands ask, what are they doing? And those parents and people up in the front row, the first like probably 25 rows, know what's going on. And then they share it. And then it's kind of like telephone. It goes all around the stadium. And for since 2013 up till now, there has been some kind of theme or some kind of message that this team, they live in, and they use a platform to let other people know about it, whether they care or not. And it seems like a lot of them care these days.
So many times it is talked about, how do we get our athletes to play relaxed and free? And like you said, fear of failure, that stops people, not only athletes, because that's something that is very real, as an athlete, but also in life, in corporate world, in so many different areas, people who never really reach their full potential because fear holds them back before they even get started. And so I love how you guys tie that in. And when there is a different focus and different purpose and something bigger than yourselves, sometimes it just takes all that pressure, puts it into another spot. How does Oklahoma softball talk about goals? Obviously, you come in and it's expected to win a national championship, but do you guys do anything specifically with goal setting?
We don't, to be honest. I used to a lot, but I think our goal, it's not a goal, it's our standard. Like you said, it's not our goal to be blue collar. It's the standard. It's who we are. It's not a goal to be that. It's who we will be. It's non-negotiable. That is who we need to be. If you want what you want, which is a national championship and holding that trophy up, here are the things that we must do as a team. To me, sometimes goals get a little selfish or one side. Now, a lot of these players have their own goals. I want to be an All-American, and that is totally fine. We don't talk about that stuff. We never talk about awards or honors because it takes away from team. Now, if you want to be an All-American, I am all for that. And I will work you as hard as I can to get you there. But it is voted by people. It's the human aspect behind it. And usually when a human is behind it, there's also something else behind it. And so, when you look at all kinds of things that we can't control because it's driven by voting or what have you, I've had a few athletes in the past be upset. And I'm like, it's out of your control. Why can you be upset? It's out of your control. Do what you do. Stay with us. Stay team concept. So we don't write down goals. We write down expectations. We write down, this was what I expect us to do. And then those goals will come to you. But we don't list those first. We don't list those at all. I know what our goals are. We know what we want. So this is a standard in order to get what you want.
What challenges have you faced? What would you say is the hardest thing about being a coach of college athletes in today's day and age?
There is a list of things now. The list gets longer every year. I guess, and I'm sure athletes are tired of hearing this, but it is an interruption, and that is the phone and the addiction to the phone and always wanting to see it, read it. It affects sleep. It affects all those things. NIL, the ability to make money. I'm all for that, 100%. But are you adult enough to handle your education, the responsibilities on the field, and all your NIL responsibilities? It's tough.
It's the best leaders, let's say first within a team. And then I want to talk a little bit about coaching.
Putting others first and foremost, 100%. It's not about, you're a good leader if you make everyone around you better. That is, to me, the essence of a good leader. A good leader is not afraid to say what they need to say. They're not, they can't go in thinking, oh, I don't want to say that because then she'll get mad at me or what have you. You need to be confident in who you are, confident in what you're saying, say it in a respectful way, say it in an encouraging way, but be honest with what you have to say. And that's one thing we definitely do. We're honest, but in a respectful way. And if you do it that way, then it's like, how do we get better? So a good leader on the team is always looking after others, always putting them first. If good leaders, I learned this too. There's a book about it. Good leaders always eat last. They're always at the end of the line. They always make sure everyone in front of them is taken care of. And now it's my turn. Coaches should be doing the same thing. If a coach is the first one in line at the training table or at the line at the restaurant or what have you, that wouldn't go well for me.
Yes, non-negotiables.
Okay, so hustle is constant. If you're not running out something first base, you're likely continuing to run around the field, or maybe I'll sit you out in the dugout until and have you watch to see what it looks like. I don't like quiet athletes, but I also don't like athletes that talk just to talk. So in our sport of softball, it's interesting. Like I remember one year our team was at the airport waiting for a flight, and they're so loud that I have to keep shushing them, like, stop, you're disrupting others. Yet when we get on the field, then they become quiet. I'm like, wait a minute. So that's, if you ever wondering why after we hit a home run, we fly in, it stems from that airport story. It happened a long time ago and it just kept going. It's like, keep your energy on the field where we need it. So it's just that preparation, communication. I want to make sure you ate lunch before you come out and say, oh, you got to be organized. You got to meal prep, or again, we keep talking about sleep, but it's all the little things you could do at home to be more disciplined that can help you be the best example. I want our players to be examples for each other and raise each other in that way. One thing that this is a Michael Jordan quote that I really, really like. And he says, practice like you've never won, play like you've never lost. And to me, I just gave myself chills, which doesn't happen ever. But if you are thinking as a practice player, play like you've never won. And then the confidence when you're in a game, like no one can beat you. And I just think too, what you've hit on is just our faith has really allowed us to be free in what we're doing. And it's been so phenomenal to watch as a coach. It's what makes me keep going, going into my 29th season, and I'm loving it more than I ever have.